Hey guys, this is Siddharth Sudhir from TOPPERSMITH CLASS 100%. Today this is the second part of biology life processes, and we're going to learn about digestive and the respiratory system of the human body. So the first one is nutrition in human beings. Nutrition in human beings. This is the first one. Nutrition in human beings takes place in the digestive system. It consists of an alimentary canal and glands which produce enzymes which break down food into smaller molecules. The main organs of the digestive system is the mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and the anus. The main glands are the salivary glands, gastric glands, liver, pancreas, and the intestinal glands. So guys, you can see the picture and the diagram of the digestive system. The first one comes through the mouth, and then the salivary gland coming through the food pipe, which is also called as the esophagus. Then this is the liver, and going through the stomach, where the main process of digestion happens. Then it goes to the pancreas, then to the small intestine. And always remember guys, the digestion process is always finished in the small intestine after everything is done. um, in the largest intestine, only the absorption of water is seen. So guys, this is the function and the glands which is produced and the juices which is produced of each organ. Let's go first with the mouth. Always remember guys, the function of the mouth is mainly to break up the food particles consisting mainly of carbohydrates. So the main amount of carbohydrates is broken down in our mouth, which is hard. Then as you can see here, there's salivary glands. uh, there is in this part of the gland there is something called salivary amylase, which converts sugar into starch. Then this is the pharynx, where the swallowed part is seen. This is the esophagus, it just transports food. Then coming to the liver guys is a very important part of the human digestive system. The first point is it breaks down and builds up many biological molecules. Second one is it stores vitamins and iron particles. Then it destroys old blood cells and poisons, and it produces the bile juice, which aids in the digestion. So it helps in uh, digesting of protein and a little bit of carbohydrates. And one more thing, guys, there is something called as gallbladder. Let me just take this pointer. So there's something called as gallbladder right below the kidney, which that is where the more amount of bile is stored and concentrated in the gallbladder. So once the kidney produces the bile juice, it is gone and stored in the gallbladder. So this is the function of liver and gallbladder. Then coming to the stomach, it stores and mainly churns the food. Guys, in the stomach, it mainly produces five things. Three things. The first one is pepsin. The second one is HCl, which is hydrochloric acid. The third one is mucus. The first one is pepsin. Guys, pepsin is mainly it helps in digestion of protein. And the second one is HCl, hydrochloric acid. It activates enzymes and breaks up food and kills germs. As you know, acids always kill germs. And the third one is mucus. It protects the stomach wall from limited absorption. Guys, the main at first, actually speaking, the pepsin would have been in the form of pepsogen. So the HCl here converts pepsogen to pepsin, and so that is one character of HCl. And guys, always remember, more the acid in our stomach, it damages the walls of the stomach. That's why mucus protects the walls of the stomach from the hydrochloric acid reacting with it. So this is the process of the stomach. So after the stomach, we know there is pancreas. In pancreas, hormones are regulated blood glucose levels, bicarbonates neutralize stomach acids, trypsin and chymotrypsin digest proteins. Then amylase digests the polycarbonates, and lipase digests the lipids. So mainly, guys, here the pepsin, as we know, it digests protein, and amylase digests the carbohydrates, and trypsin lipase gets reduces the fats. So that is the procedure of pancreas. And remember guys, pancreas is the only organ where it breaks down proteins, fats and carbohydrates into simpler particles. Then coming to the small intestine, the first one is it completes the digestion, as I told you before. This is where the digestion is complete. Mucus protects the gut wall. The gut means the small intestine. Mucus protects the wall. It absorbs nutrients and most of the water. Then pepsin digests proteins. Then sucrose digests sugars, and amylase digests the polysaccharides, or the mainly the carbohydrates. So this is where small intestine the digestion process is finished. And one more thing guys, I have forgotten to tell you is within the small intestine there are something like these, like which some banners within the small intestine, within the pipe, basically what I tell. So these guys are called as villi. As villi mainly helps in absorption of the proteins and water within the small intestine, and reduces the the speed of the food which is going, so that it goes slowly and absorbs the required nutrients and most water. So then, guys, going to the large intestine, it does not much does, and it just reabsorbs more water. As we know, our 70% of our body is filled with water, so it absorbs the required amount of water and ions, and it forms and stores feces. So then, going to anus, this is the opening and elimination of the unwanted waste. This is the rectum is the place where it stores the unwanted waste, and anus is the place where it executes and it eliminates, it throws out the unwanted waste after all the digestion process is completed. So guys, this is just the the text form of what it did. In the mouth, the food is broken, and the saliva and all these is just the process in text. And pepsin, small intestine. So guys, just take a screenshot or just pause the video and read it once again. So guys, the next one is respiration. Respiration is mainly the process where food is burned in the cells of the body with the help of the oxygen released in the form of energy. And guys, always remember, many people think in the digestion process, energy is released, but actually no. It is in the respiration process where energy is released in the form of ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate, and ADP molecules, which is adenosine diphosphate. Uh, and guys, this is the equation: ADP, adenosine diphosphate, plus phosphate in presence of energy gives ATP. Then energy is stored in the cells in the form of ATP molecules. When the cells need energy, ATP is broken down in the presence of water to form ADP, and energy is released. Guys, which is what are the types of respiration? There are, guys, mainly two types of respiration. The first one is aerobic, and the second one is anaerobic. And guys, you might get a little confused here. Just focus on the equations. First, glucose, which is there, it is in the presence of oxygen. This I am talking about aerobic respiration in the cytoplasm. You guys imagine the cell, and in the cytoplasm, in the presence of oxygen, glucose is converted into pyruvate, and in the presence of oxygen again inside the mitochondria, when it enters the mitochondria, it gives out carbon dioxide, which is CO2, plus H2, which is water, plus water vapor, I mean, plus energy. So guys, this is the equation for aerobic respiration. For anaerobic respiration, there is two kind. The first one is glucose in the presence of oxygen in the cytoplasm converted into pyruvate, but in the absence of oxygen in the muscle cells, not the mitochondria, gives out lactic acid and energy. This is one of the famous examples where you run a lot, and at that point of time your muscles are there is a lack of oxygen in your body because you run a lot, and your breathing will reduce, so there's a lack of oxygen in your body, and in that point of time in your muscle cells there is lactic acid which is produced, and energy. So this is one example, and the second one in anaerobic respiration is glucose in the presence of oxygen in the cytoplasm converted into pyruvate in the absence of oxygen in yeast. is converted into ethanol, CO2, which is carbon dioxide, and energy. Guys, I hope you know yeast. Yeast is where you put into breads and pizzas, where it bloats. That is I'm talking about. So that is converted into ethanol, CO2, and energy. This is the main diagram, the breakdown of glucose. This in these are the pathways. First one, as I told, is glucose, presence of oxygen in cytoplasm, pyruvate plus energy. The first one is in presence of oxygen in mitochondria. It gives out CO2 plus H2O plus energy. Second one is absence of oxygen. Guys, actually this is wrong. It is lack of oxygen. It is lack of oxygen. Lack of oxygen in muscle cells gives lactic acid plus energy, and where there is absolute no oxygen, absence of oxygen in yeast, it gives us ethanol, CO2, and energy. Guys, always remember this. It's an easy one. Don't try to remember these these text. It confuses a lot. Remember this diagram. It'll help you. So guys, the next one is the mechanism of breathing. Guys, when we breathe in air, the muscles of our diaphragm, which is below our lungs, contracts and moves downward, and the chest cavity expands and air enters to our lungs. Guys, this is the first one. This is where, while we are inhaling the air which is present in our surroundings. So what will happen is during the inhalation of thing, the diaphragm contracts, so it becomes small and goes down, and the chest cavity, so basically the chest cavity grows big, so that the air goes and sits inside the lungs. So that is during inhalation, and during exhaling of air, the diaphragm goes inside. So when we breathe out air, the muscles of the diaphragm relaxes and it goes back to its place and moves upwards, and the chest cavity contracts. So at this point of time, the chest cavity grows a little small. That mainly means contracts, and the air goes out of the lungs. So guys, remember, this is inhalation and this is exhalation. Guys, this is the parts of the respiratory system. Always remember this. This is a very important diagram. Guys, right now I'm not drawing any diagrams because I don't have a pen where I can draw. And one more thing is, each school and each class have different kinds of diagrams. So I would suggest to go to your teacher and ask them which kind of diagram to be followed. But the parts of the respiratory system is needed to be remembered for all CBSE schools. One is the pharynx. Okay, let's start from the first. One is the nose, the first one, and then coming to the larynx. As the larynx is also known as the I mean the sound box in our throat. Then this part is called as the larynx. Then coming to the one, these are the main ones. Then the windpipe is mainly known as trachea. Then coming down, this is known as, this part about to enter the lungs is called as the bronchus or the bronchi. Then coming down here, these are known as the bronchioles. Then guys, remember these small dots here, the kind of leaves which you can see, as these are called as alveoli. Alveoli is is the part where there is absolute exchange of gases. So when we inhale, oxygen is inhaled, and in this part, in the alveoli, carbon oxygen is exchanged with carbon dioxide, and the carbon dioxide comes out again through the trachea and comes out of our nose. So the exchange of gases takes place in the alveoli. And this is the diaphragm, as you all know. I don't think they'll ask to draw the diaphragm, but above the lungs, everything is called as the respiratory system. So this is the right lung, this is the left lung. That's general. So this is the parts of the respiratory system and the diagram. This is the process. Air enters through the nostrils of our nose, then the hairs and the mucus of traps the dust particles. And this is one more thing. In our nose, you might see there are a lot of hairs, and there's something called mucus in our nose which blocks the dust particles and most of the unwanted particles which goes into our body. So this is why mucus is there in our nose, and then goes to the pharynx, larynx, and then the trachea, as I showed you. Then into the bronchi, then into the bronchioles, and then to the alveoli. So this is mainly the process. If you want to take a screenshot, please take it by pausing the video. So that's it, guys. In this class, we learned about digestion and the respiratory systems of the human body. The next session will be about the transportation. Transportation mainly means about the heart, the blood, what the blood contains, the capillaries, etc. The diagram of the heart, which is very very important, and the last session, I think, yes, the last session will be about excretion, which is very easy one. Uh, so that's it, guys, for today. Till then, till the next session is to come. Please subscribe, share, and like this video. Thank you, and have a nice day. Bye.